Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bruce Frisco. It is Friday, the 23rd of January. This is CTV News. Tonight, a wintry blast preparing for breathtaking cold and significant snow. No clear connection. Another round of tests failed to prove the mystery brain disease. And to the point, the Nova Scotia man who only needs a pencil to create beautiful art.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Bruce Frisco.
Good evening. If you've been enjoying our relatively mild winter so far, you may want to buckle up for a reality check this weekend. Extreme wind chills are in the forecast, along with a significant snowfall. Kaylin will have all the details coming up, but we begin with the race to prepare for the difficult days ahead. CTV's Hafsa Arif has more.
Right now, it doesn't feel all that bad. Sidewalks are clear, roads are dry, but that calm won't last long. A blast of Arctic air is moving into the Maritimes, bringing some of the coldest temperatures of the season.
We know that we have a cold stretch moving in tonight overnight, and that we're expecting some possible weather Sunday night overnight into Monday.
Utilities across the Maritimes are also bracing for what that cold could mean for the power grid.
We have sufficient capacity, we have contingency plans, and we have trained crews obviously in place to respond quickly to changing conditions or unexpected issues.
On Prince Edward Island, comfort centers are ready to open if needed. Maritime Electric has also issued a watch, warning electricity demand could climb. For New Brunswick, concerns lie mostly with the cold itself.
The cold temperatures obviously will put pressure on the system. Obviously, it is definitely a cold snap, anywhere between -35 to -40.
In Halifax, the city says that people workers are out, making those living outside aware of the indoor options. Hafsa Arif, CTV News.
5 years after the first cases were reported, New Brunswick's top doctor says there is still no hard evidence of a mystery neurological disease in the province. An analysis of blood and urine samples from hundreds of people complaining of unusual symptoms found no connection with heavy metals or herbicides. CTV's Laura Brown has the details.
Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Yves Legier, insists there's no mystery neurological illness in New Brunswick.
I think we can now certainly state that there isn't any evidence that we've seen, that I've seen to date, that certainly suggests the existence of an unknown condition.
It was an initial group of 48 people with unexplained symptoms like memory loss, hallucinations, difficulties walking, behavioral changes, and muscle spasms. Today's report analyzed the urine and blood test results of 222 of those people.
We didn't feel that there was any widespread elevations or exposures that were occurring in this group of patients that would suggest that these substances are contributing to most patients' illnesses.
He said 9 autopsies found known conditions like dementia, Alzheimer's, and Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. It's a frustrating finding for one of the 222 patients included in the investigation.
They did find patients with elevated levels of herbicides or heavy metals. They're saying it's not a high percent, so it doesn't matter.
The plan moving forward is for each patient to get follow-up testing and to undergo a formal assessment process to try and find some answers. The final recommendation is for 2 specialists to sign off on each and every final diagnosis. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Get the Maritimes top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Police in St. John are investigating some unsettling allegations of sexual offenses at a senior care facility. The name of the place has not been released, but police believe there are multiple victims and the suspect's identity is known. They say safeguards are now in place to protect the other residents, and families of the victims have been notified. The facility is said to be cooperating with the investigation. Actor Mike Smith, best known as Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys, had his court case adjourned today. A lawyer appeared on his behalf and requested the case be set aside for a month. Smith was charged with a single count of sexual assault in October based on an allegation dating back to Dartmouth in 2017. A no-contact order and publication ban were imposed by the court to protect the female complainant. Smith was due for election and plea today, but the case was pushed back until next month, again at the request of the defense.
So what could be anticipated is potentially the accused entering his election and his plea at that time, and potential trial dates set if that's the route that he chooses to go.
Smith's first court date was in November. The case is due to return on February the 26th. There's word tonight about the closure of a federally run experimental farm in Napan that would have consequences for farmers here in our region and right across the country, as a matter of fact. The local MLA says the farm is one of 5 across the country being closed by the federal government. Those in the industry say the decision is puzzling, given the push to buy local and encouraging trade news from China.
We need those research stations to do good work that you can't necessarily do on a farm, to be able to strengthen that industry.
One of the biggest competitive advantage that Canada has in agri-food is that we see this mix between private sector research and public sector research, and the combination both really allowed farmers to succeed.
About a dozen people worked at the farm. They were providing invaluable research on things like cattle and improving the grass that animals forage on. U.S. and Canadian politicians may not be getting along very well at the moment, but that does not seem to be the case in the lobster industry. In fact, voices from both sides of the border gathered in Moncton this week to talk trade, tariffs, and the future. CTV's Josh Smith was there too.
Moncton hosted this meeting of U.S. and Canadian lobster fishers, and despite uncertainty with trade between the two countries, fishers on both sides of the border say their day-to-day realities look similar.
Nowadays, there's more of the same people involved in the processing and shipping industry. But other than that, you know, we're all people in the end, all trying to make a living, all trying to get by.
That sense of common ground echoed on this side of the border as well.
It was really interesting to watch both our Canadian colleagues and our American colleagues sit and both identify that the free-flowing movement of fish and seafood, specifically lobster in this case, across the border was to the benefit for both nations.
The tariff environment changes almost by the day, but we have the new China relief from the China tariffs coming up March 1st for at least to the end of the year. That's positive for the live sector especially.
But some in the industry say there's a level of concern about the future.
We have 2 dominant markets where we have a lot of uncertainty. I mean, the Chinese deal that we've been talking about, and the Chinese have not committed to continuing it beyond the end of 2026.
For fishers, the biggest concern remains stability, not politics. Josh Smith, CTV News, Moncton.
Now to a Moncton woman who's asking for the province to pay for a flight she says will change her life. She's a match for a kidney transplant, but it's not quite that simple. CTV's Derek Haggett has the details.
Stephanie Beers has finally been approved for a second chance at life, but she's hit a wall. The 44-year-old needs surgery that would see one kidney and the cells of the pancreas transfused through her liver.
This is a life-saving transplant in more ways than one for me, because I've been diabetic since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, and it would completely change my life.
Her kidneys failed 5 years ago, so 3 days a week she receives hemodialysis, an exhausting process. There's been other health issues, including 7 surgeries on her leg. Her case was eventually sent to Toronto General Hospital a few years ago. This past December, she was approved, but she says the province won't pay for flights to Toronto for her and a companion.
The day I got listed was the day they informed me that my travel to Ontario wouldn't be covered as if it would have been covered going to Montreal.
Even if I try to advocate, they're not going to listen to me. So it's hard for me to just stand by and watch and not be able to do anything.
The province says in non-urgent situations when a patient can travel by commercial means, the air ambulance remains in New Brunswick for emergencies. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
Thank you, Derek. Still to come tonight, Kalen's full forecast, and we'll tell you about the push to restore an historic building in Glace Bay as that community celebrates an important anniversary. Coming up next, though, protecting pods.
They do face a lot of risks when they come into the Gulf of St. Lawrence.
We'll tell you about the work being done to prevent North Atlantic right whales from being injured. That story is next. Stay with us.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Weekdays at 7, you can win $1,000 with the $1,000 minute.
10 questions in 60 seconds to win, and you can get the answer to question number 10 on our podcast.
Good news and bad news when it comes to North Atlantic right whales to share with you tonight. We're happy to tell you that nearly 20 whale calves have been born so far this season. That's one of the highest numbers in years. However, there could be dangers lurking in our Canadian waters. CTV's Brianne Foley has the story.
19 calves born into a right whale pod is a good year, but still not enough.
New research is actually showing that we need about 50 calves born a year over multiple years in order for the population to bounce back.
As they enter back into Atlantic Canadian waters, the threat of entanglement from fishing gear looms.
Because they do face a lot of risks when they come into the Gulf of St. Lawrence. They have, risks of getting entangled in fishing gear, hit by vessels as well.
According to Oceana Canada, more than 85% of right whales bear scars from entanglement. In 2024, 10 whales were caught up in gear.
Department of Fisheries and Oceans does have some management measures in place to protect whales from entanglements. So whenever a right whale is sighted in Canadian waters, an area of around 2,000 square kilometers closes where no fishing can occur.
But there is new technology that can help both fishers and whales.
And what this gear does is it actually removes the vertical fishing rope that's suspended in the water. And this is the rope that, is posing the most entanglement risk to whales. And it stores the rope at the seafloor. And then fishermen, when they're ready to haul their catch, they just send an acoustic signal down and it will release.
For Vatcher, the solution is simple.
The government is working on a whale safe gear strategy that has been delayed. It was supposed to come out in spring 2025. So we really need to see that strategy come out before whales come to Canadian waters.
Vatcher points out that protecting whales is important to fight climate change, as each whale can store up to 70,000 pounds of carbon dioxide. Brianne Foley, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you, Brianne. All right, time for a quick little break, but when we return, your all-important maritime weather forecast, and it's going to be kind of a humdinger around here this weekend. Kaylin Mitchell has all the details when we come back. Friday night, 23rd day of January, so we're heading into the last week of January, and it's going to feel like the last week of January.
Yeah, it's going to put those milder temperatures we had about a week ago far, far away in the rear view mirror. In fact, we have some cold warnings out for parts of the Maritimes for this weekend, including Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, parts of the north of Nova Scotia. Wind chills at times making it feel between -30 and -39. Remember, there is an increased risk of frostbite to exposed skin. 30 minutes or less when the wind chill makes it feel -28 or colder. Check on those who might be vulnerable in this type of cold weather. The other thing that we have in effect is a snow squall watch out for parts of Cape Breton. That cold wind coming in over the Gulf of St. Lawrence, that is a recipe for snow squalls, and that watch is expected to extend from Saturday morning into Sunday morning. Some of the more intense squalls could produce 15 centimeters of snow. Now, I would also add another couple areas underneath a risk of some snow squalls as we move through tonight into tomorrow. Parts of the east of Prince Edward Island, the north shore of Nova Scotia, and the southwest of Nova Scotia, Digby, Yarmouth, and Shelburne counties. Other parts of the Maritimes on Saturday are mostly looking at a mix of sun and cloud, bitterly cold temperatures, though, and there's not much relief from the wind chill from the morning into the afternoon because the winds for tomorrow are expected to remain blustery throughout the day with some fairly widespread gusts between 30 and 50 kilometers per hour out of the northwest. A very cold night and very cold start to the day for tomorrow. Low temperatures falling well into the -teens, -20. 20s for New Brunswick, down to around -16 for communities in Prince Edward Island tonight, and temperatures falling between -10 and -15 for Nova Scotia. For PEI and Nova Scotia, those are basically the daytime highs for tomorrow as well. Temperatures don't rise much through the day because of that very cold northwest wind. High temperatures for New Brunswick between -14 and -18. And then we have to talk about what's coming up at the very end of the weekend. Developing late Sunday night, ongoing through Monday, and maybe even into the early morning hours of Tuesday. It's our next nor'easter. And this has the potential to bring in a very heavy snowfall for areas of Nova Scotia, parts of the south of New Brunswick, and the east of Prince Edward Island. I'm going to go with a range of 20 to 40 centimeters, the highest right now, because for a couple of reasons. One, it's a slower moving weather system that could give the snow more time to add up. Again, it looks like it's going to be a complete Monday event. And the snow is likely to be a little bit more on the fluffy side, more powdery, and that can add up to more depth when it's down on the ground as well. A winter storm watch is already in effect for the southwest of Nova Scotia, and special weather statements continue for southern areas, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and the rest of Nova Scotia. Please keep tabs on that forecast throughout this weekend. 7-day forecast then. There's the snow for New Brunswick coming in Sunday night, ongoing into and through Monday before easing to some flurries on Tuesday. Colder temperatures following behind it for Wednesday, Thursday of next week, and then there's the potential for some more snow on Friday. For Nova Scotia in the forecast as well, we have that snow developing late Sunday night, ongoing through the day on Monday, accompanied by gusty winds, so blowing and drifting snow. That's going to be around as well. Some further accumulating snow possible Monday night, and then down to flurries on Tuesday. Colder temperatures follow for Wednesday and Thursday of next week, and then the possibility of snow on Friday. And for Prince Edward Island in the forecast, we've got snow developing late Sunday night, periods of snow through the day on Monday and even into Monday night, down to flurries on Tuesday, mix of sun and cloud, colder temperatures for Wednesday and Thursday of next week, and then watching for snow on Friday. Bruce.
All right, thank you, my friend. The wake-up weather is still to come. In the meantime, do stay with us because there's a whole lot more in this Friday edition of CTV News at 11:30.
#1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
Okay, so this year, Glace Bay is celebrating its 125th anniversary. And to mark that milestone, as CTV's Ryan McDonald is about to show us, the people who run the Heritage Museum in the old Town Hall building are hoping to breathe some new life into the old walls.
If these walls could talk, they might tell the story of a town's history.
This place was Glace Bay's Town Hall, and it was built in 1902, finished 1903.
Or of people who were imprisoned here more than a century ago.
The basement of the old Town Hall was the police station and the jails.
This year marks Glace Bay's 125th anniversary, and now the people who operate the Old Town Hall as a local heritage museum hope for funding to keep the building from falling into disrepair.
There is water coming through the basement walls, and you know what happens to a house with a bad foundation.
The top 2 floors are filled with history and artifacts and have been done over quite nicely. One of the hopes now is to restore the basement, which still looks like it would have generations ago.
It's an icon in the community. It's a big building, stands out, and a lot of people use it. We have cruise ships, people come in.
Our history's there. We have a very rich history in coal mining and fishing.
The museum's board of directors would like to see help from all 3 levels of government. The area's councillor says information is being collected to see what might be able to be done at the municipal level.
Those talks are taking place. We haven't gone to council yet.
For now, a structural engineer is expected to visit next week, which might give the people who take care of this museum a better idea of what they need, but they figure that a milestone anniversary like the town's 125th is occasion enough to start asking.
It would be their greatest, most important birthday present for the town of Glace Bay.
Hoping to preserve these old walls for years to come. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Glace Bay.
Thank you, Ryan. Coming up, a Nova Scotia man only needs a pencil to turn blank pages into amazing works of art. You'll see what we mean. First, though, it is your wake-up weather. Here's a live look at Truro, where it's already a chilly -9 and going to get a whole lot colder in the next day or so. Kaylin's Wake Up is coming up next.
News doesn't wait, and neither should you. At home, at work, and on the go, stay connected with a team you can trust anytime, anywhere. CTV Atlantic and ctvatlantic.ca. Watch live on Crave.
So it's a cold Saturday morning out there, and I guess it's we're going to need all the winter gear all weekend long, I guess.
Yeah, dress in layers, of course. You want to make sure that outermost layer is as wind resistant as possible, because wind chill is the big factor throughout the day for tomorrow. Check on those who might be more vulnerable in this type of cold. Mind your pets as well. Don't leave them out and exposed in those type of conditions for too long. There is going to be some scattered flurries for the province of Nova Scotia. Risk of snow squalls in the southwest province, as well as in Cape Breton, where a snow squall watch is in effect. Mostly sunny to a mix of sun and cloud for the remainder of the region. Bruce.
All right, thank you, Kellen, for all your work today. Well, you don't need a canvas to create works of art. CTV's Mike Lamb is about to show us a Lower Sackville man only needs paper and a pencil to create some portraits like you've never seen.
My name is Mark Guthrow, and I've been doing pencil art since the age of 8. I do a lot of scenes around Nova Scotia and a lot of commission pieces for clients, and it's an absolute love for me to do. I love being able to do processes for people and put memories for them from their photographs and turn those into pencil artwork for them that they'll keep forever. While I was 8 years old, I had the chicken pox and I was bored. So I started taking my little wildlife books, going through the photographs and doing little 5-minute pencil sketching from all the animals that were in there. My mother did watercolors. She would take lots of courses, and she would teach me a little bit about shading. My grandfather, he painted, he did everything, pencil work, ink. So at the old Dartmouth Museum, my mother and myself and some paintings from my grandfather, we did a 3-generation show, which was fairly unique. What I do is I basically sketch out the subject matter. Once you have all the lines in the right proportion that you want, I'll do all the line drawing, and after that, then I'll start slowly working in and putting in some more details. I do a lot of pet portraits, pets that either are still here or have passed on, and it's a memento that my clients treasure forever. My pencil drawings I've put into a calendar of Nova Scotia scenes. I take all my own photographs and I work from those. Tourists love that because it's something that's very unique and it represents of the province, and people tell me they send the calendars all over the world, which is just a thrill for me. I do anywhere from 5x7 up to much larger, but typically an 8x10 could take 30 to 40 hours of a pet portrait. Scenes of Nova Scotia can take me 80 to 100 hours. It's really meaningful when somebody asks me to do a piece for them, because I know it means a lot to them to ask me to do something and to entrust me to do a work for them, something that's going to be very important for them for many, many years. And I feel honored when anybody asks me to do something for them.
Isn't that something? Okay, so that's your late news for tonight. That's it for this week, as a matter of fact. If you joined us late, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Updates right around the clock. It is your home for news. I'm Bruce Frisco. Thank you for staying up late with us tonight. We're going to leave you with the names of all of us here at Bell Media. Have yourself a good night and a great weekend. Stay warm, and we hope to see you again on Monday night.